Hello there, welcome to this video, part 1 of 2 of a small playlist on how I got to where I am, discussing the theoretical and the technical, this one is the technical, aspects of my journey, and hopefully you'll be able to take away some ideas and personalize them. So this is about how I got to where I am and how I might go further, and I want to help you get to where you want to be through this video. So in the description box below, there are many links this time because I'm expanding in other videos what I briefly mentioned in this video. So do have a look in there. And as always, likes, comments, subscriptions are welcome. Have a look at my books, blog, podcast, and Patreon. My journey started with stride. There was no particular reason for that. It was my granddad used to play the Great American Songbook music, and his style was a bass note and a chord. It wasn't necessarily a complex jazz chord, mainly the major 7 and the dominant 7 and a minor 7, occasionally a 6th chord. And that's what got me started. But even then, how did I come from not being able to play anything on the piano and having no sense of anything to being completely orientated in all 12 keys and having a rapidity, a fluency, and a precision, and a touch, and you know, all these things, an endurance? That all came from practice. I didn't just, you know, the man on the top of the mountain didn't fall there. Not to say I'm on top of the mountain. So there are 2 key parts to what I'm going to say, and I think you do well to adopt them in your own life too. The first is personalization, and the second is dissection, meaning your path is different to everybody else's path. So there's no point in comparing what you need and how quickly or slowly you learn something. Some things for me took a very long time. I have a related article, and in the article I explained that my weakness was always my left hand descending. My left hand ascending was great. My right hand up and down was fine, but the left hand descending stuff was dreadful, and I don't know why. That was just an inherent issue I had to overcome. And you naturally will have inherent issues and things that you can do naturally very quickly. So the first thing, like I say, is personalization, because your path is unique and it's not like anybody else's. And don't be demoralized by your progress, which you may think is too slow or too well, you wouldn't think it's too fast necessarily, but don't get too excited if you can do something very quickly, because there's always something else that you should be doing once you can do that. So that was my weakness, and I'll show you a few things I did to overcome that. So that's personalization. Make technical exercise which are specific to your path. Acquire what you need when you need it. This is what the water pianism philosophy teaches. Acquire what you need when you need it. And the second thing is dissection. Dissection philosophy also comes from the water pianism philosophy. Dissection means that whatever problem you have, you need to master the smallest details of it. And that could be anything. It could be learning a piece. It could be something away from the piano in your mind. It could be at the piano technically. It could be a phrase in a song. It could be a technical exercise. It could be some fingering issue. It could be a jump that you have to do. It could be a fluency issue. Whatever it is, there's always a way to find a smaller component of that problem, and then you master that problem separate from the main issue. And again, I have a couple of examples of that. One that comes to mind is when I was learning a Liszt piece, Liebestraum. There's one particular part in it, I like to call it the butterfly effect. And the problem wasn't precision or fluency, and it wasn't necessarily a dexterity issue. It was a coordination issue, I would say. And the general idea is I had to play like these pairs, like this, alternating my fingers a lot. Okay? It's that kind of thing. And I'd never had to do that before. I'd been playing for a long time, and I could play lots of fast things and lots of nice chords, but I'd never had to do like finger pair stuff. So like then, but I discovered a nice technical exercise in this book, which was printed for me by an old landlady of mine. Well, a former landlady, she's not old. And it's the Liszt Technical Exercises. It's a PDF file, and you can find it online. And it is just simply full of technical exercises for scales, for chords, but it's interesting because it forces you to use each individual finger independently, and each finger is the same, in other words, and you will also find nice patterns. So that taught me, I got some good finger work from that book, and I went through that for a good 2 years, which really loosened up my fingers and helped me especially with my descending left hand. What I also discovered early on was that closing your eyes, doing things with your eyes shut really helps. It removes conscious interference, and you learn to trust your fingers when they are connected to the piano. When you know consciously that your hands can do the right things because you've trained them with your eyes closed, it gives you a lot more confidence when you're playing with your eyes open, and that's a nice psychological benefit. So I'll start with let's start with precision. So again, in the article I talk about the things which I feel are the most important. Okay, personalization and dissection, these are general philosophies that you can apply, but the two things which you should be focusing on no matter your path, which apply to everybody, because some techniques don't apply to everybody, like this, double pair thing. You may not need to do that, so don't do it. You don't need it. The two things are precision and fluency, because it doesn't matter even if you have a good rapidity, a good dexterity, you can play lots of songs, you know your scales, but if you can't play fluently because you keep stumbling, it's pointless. The good finger work doesn't mean anything. And if you don't have a precision and you keep stumbling, again, the finger work is not so impressive if you keep playing the wrong notes. Just because you can play fast things, if you keep hitting the wrong note, you're not a very good pianist. So precision and fluency are the key things. You can add dynamics, touch, rhythmic things. Endurance is another one. I have a video on that below. Endurance is very important, to play until your fingers ache. It's very, very good. Aching is good, pain is bad. So I'm going to show you some of my favorite things I did, and which helped me get to where I am now. So this is the technical part. The other video, part 2, link below, and maybe a card up here somewhere. Number 2 is more about the theoretical stuff, but I still play, and I talk a bit more about what I did away from the piano. This is 90% plus at the piano stuff, which I did and still do. So first of all, you must be sitting in front of the same note every time you sit at the piano. That helps you with reinforcing your orientation. Sometimes when I make a video, because of the camera angle, I have to sit slightly off center. Normally I'm in front of middle D, and if I'm sitting in front of F, I honestly can't play the piano. It's just that small difference. My conscious interference increases tenfold if I'm off center, because the feel of an octave, the feel of where E flat is, the feel of where this note is here, is not how I'm programmed, how I've programmed myself over the years. I'm always in front of middle D. I like how it's symmetrical from the middle. There's some nice exercises you can do from here too. And that's when I actually noticed that I always sat in front of middle D. A lot of what I did was unconscious. I didn't know I was doing it. I didn't learn it. I didn't realize it. I wasn't doing it to teach others. I mean, I had some students, but a lot of stuff came to me very naturally. And then I realized, when I became a bit more philosophical in nature, that I'm doing that, I'm doing that, I'm doing that. That seems to be quite useful. And I started to bring it all together into what eventually became the channel and the water pianism philosophy and videos like this. So sit in front of the same note every time. For me, it's D, because I like the balance. Second thing, make sure you don't have any energy puddles. This means that your fingertips are a tiny bit below the second knuckles, which are a tiny bit below the main knuckle line, which is a tiny bit below the wrist. We're talking, a millimeter here, just 1 or 2 degrees, just a tiny. There has to be a slope. Energy, water, follow the path of least resistance. You don't want this. You don't want the fingers above. You don't want this, which I've seen sometimes. That's not going to help you at all. You don't want this. You don't want any of these energy puddles to form. It's not good for your health, and it's not good for your playing. And even psychologically, you feel more in control of the piano when your hands are drooped a little bit, just like this. Doesn't have to be a lot. Don't be extreme, but just almost flat with a slight bend. And of course, your wrist should be below your elbow. So it's from the core to your shoulder, down to your elbow, down to your wrist, down to your first knuckles, down to the second, down to the fingertips. no energy puddles, which means often you'll have to sit further away and a bit higher. That's usually the cue. So there's two things there, in front of the same note and no energy puddles. Third thing, make sure you do daily exercises. I was always doing this with my fingers, and I'll just share some of them now. I have a video below, but I'll show you what I do honestly every single day, even if I don't play the piano for a month. When I sit down, it's all there. I haven't lost anything because I'm keeping the tendons good, stretched, muscles, blood flow, all these things. So what I do, in no particular order, I will first of all stretch the fingers open and then make a squeezed fist. Maybe 3, 4, 5 times. I normally do things until my hands ache. So I normally sort of just start like this, and then I'll do like a shake, but next to me by my side. Forceful, but not to break my elbows. Just like this, maybe 10, 15 seconds. Then I will do a palm slap. I don't know how many that is. I don't count anymore, but it used to be like 50, but now it must be over 100, I guess. Maybe 2 per second, 2 or 3 per second. Call it palm slap. Looks like this. And I just do it until I start to get an ache along here, and then I stop, and then I'll shake. I've done it already today before the video, otherwise I'd never be able to do some of the technical exercises I want to show you. My hands were cold. Had a nice warm cup of tea and done my exercises. So that's the palm slap. The regular fist, like this, it's quite a nice one to do. Maybe 50, something like that. I do a finger stretch where I put the fingertips together and the thumb, and I push back, relax, push back on the other one. That's a nice one to do, maybe once or twice. A little shake again. And then I do, what's the other one I do? Oh yes, like the claw, let's call it, where it's bending the second knuckle lines and the thumbs, like this. So I do that. Again, it's not with tension, it's done in a relaxed manner. And I don't know how many that becomes, again, until it aches a bit. But this is a strict thing I do every single day. And it really, really helps. I did a lot of research and into this topic. And there's a couple of videos online, maybe I'll be able to find one and link it below, on these kind of exercises being taught by a medical professional. And I learned lots from that video in particular and a couple of others. I'll put some links below, you'll see, because I don't want you to harm yourself. But definitely do that. Definitely do these exercises. So I always do that every day. That helps. So there's 3 things. In front of the same note, no energy puddles, hand exercises every day, especially before you're going to play the piano, and why not twice if you want to. Those things have to be established first, otherwise the technical exercises are pointless. And then you start to personalize. One of the traps people get into is with repertoire also, not just technical exercises, that you play exercises that you can do already. You'll just go up and down the major scale just because you can. That isn't helping at all. Don't do things that you can do already too much, maybe 10%, but 90% should be on making progress. So find your weaknesses and find what you need from those weaknesses. So common ones are precision, like I said, but precision in what? Well, let me show you my favorite exercise to do. Both hands, independently, simultaneously, your choice, any note, any key, for as long as you can, at any tempo, mix and match, personalize. Some of you may know this, but those who don't, this is really my favorite technical exercise, and it helped me a lot. And I made variations of it. So very basically, you start on any note that you want. Excuse me, you start on any note that you want with the thumb. I'll start on E for no reason. And what you're going to do is make alterations with each finger as far as it goes naturally. So don't be silly. Don't like make the index finger go out to the D sharp just because you can reach it, maybe like this. I mean, that's just silly. You're never going to do that when you're playing the piano. So don't be ridiculous. You probably go to the 5th, maybe go to a B. That might be common in a piece. Maybe C is a bit unnecessary. So let's just say to B. For me, everyone's hand is different. It's okay. And you alternate, but a long time. I mean, maybe 10 minutes. Just put a timer on, put a metronome on, and do it as slowly and as fast as you can. When you're doing it slowly, close your eyes when you're doing it fast. But my point was that I want you to put your conscious mind on the finger as it moves and see the notes in your mind on your internal piano. And it feels nice. And then you can take this a bit further. So you might make the index finger louder. And that's training your fingers and your mind to be able to play at different volumes with different fingers, which is a very refined ability. Once you've done that with that combination, move on to the next finger. So thumb and middle. I'll do it a bit faster. And I'll just go to the natural limit until it starts to stretch, which is a D for me. That's my natural. D, I can reach the others, but that's not the point. C is just very comfortable. And just do this a lot. But again, sit in the right place. No energy puddles, otherwise you're going to hurt yourself. And that's nice. You need to do this. This is an endurance, repetition, precision, eyes closed, internal piano exercise. It's wonderful. And again, you can make it louder on the index finger, which is nice. And then you'll do that with each finger. Ring finger naturally goes to a D sharp for me. This is just so good. This is just the best exercise. And then the little finger. Let's just go to an octave, to the E. I'll just come to the F sharp because coming too close is a bit silly. Maybe even from the G to the E. Such a good workout. That's really good. Then you do each other finger combination, and then you will have covered every possibility that you will ever have to play in any repertoire that you play, because all piano music has been written for a human with, 5 hands generally. And even if you didn't have some fingers, you'll still have the combination ability to be able to play any finger combination ability anyway. Yeah, I think that's right. What I just said, you'll have the ability to play any combination of fingers. So it doesn't matter if you only have 3 fingers. And really, there are videos online of people with missing fingers, and you wouldn't even know if you didn't look that they're playing some nice Chopin piece, and you wouldn't know that they have missing fingers. That's one reason that you shouldn't get caught up in fixed fingering. You have to find your natural fingering, and sometimes it's nice to just play a piece and remove a finger for fun and see if you can still play it, and you'll find that you will. It's very interesting. So you'll do that. So very quickly, let's just say I'll start with my middle. You'll do it with your index finger alternating, and then the middle finger alternating, and then just the ring finger alternating. And again, the left hand, and then you can bring them together, and you can mix them. So let's just jump into that quickly. I'll take the note of G with my ring finger in the left hand, and the right hand I'll do with the index finger. And the left hand I'll alternate with the middle, and the right hand I'll alternate with the ring. So we're using only these fingers, and we're going to go chromatically as far as needs be, which kind of is the C sharp for both of them for me. So that's nice. Feels good. So my little finger played then. And you can start on the black notes, on the white notes, because there's no difference. And you hopefully you'll enjoy this. Doesn't matter what notes and what finger combinations. If you can do that, starting with the left, starting with the right, bringing them together, maybe use a metronome just for some steadiness, two notes per beat at 120 or something like that, 2 notes per second. That's really, really, really going to help you. Really, really, really. And again, if that's difficult, dissect. Find your natural position, find the natural stretch, and maybe just start with 1 interval, and then maybe add another interval. It's a nice thing to do. And then add another interval. So you can really mix it up. There's so many things to do. And then eventually you'll get to the point where you can do all of them, you see. But try and keep steady. You can take that even further by moving around in a pattern somewhere. So you might start with a finger combination up to the 5th, and then jump up to the 4th. Maybe go around in the cycle of 4ths, which I always promote. Starting on C, and then doing it from the F up to its 5th, and then from the B flat, I've gone up a 4th to its 5th, and then up a 4th, and you get all the different finger combinations, which is nice. Nice exercise. Left hand, right hand, doesn't matter. That's something I did a lot. Now, another one for precision is with chords. That's with chromatically. You can do that same exercise with major scales. You can use different finger combinations. Just get used to playing different combinations in different scales, and you'll find that beneficial. I want to do a chord one now, not D, because my F sharp doesn't work. Let's try F or E flat. One I did with chords. That was very unique to me. Because I knew the major scales, you know, within a week or two, because I was learning them on my internal piano. I didn't really call it that. I was just walking to and from school, to and from lessons, just generally day by day. I just visualized 2 octaves of the piano without knowing I was doing it, and I could just see the whole half template, and each major scale I spent a particular amount of time looking at it, feeling it. So what did I just say? E flat. I mean, I just felt that. I could see the shape, I could feel it beyond words. And then when I started to label chords, I realized that all chords are labeled from 1, 3, 5, and 7. Of course, you have 9, 11, 13, but forget that for now. 1, 3, 5, and 7. And the chords are just modifications of that. So I could play a minor. Oh, I shouldn't have done that because the G sharp doesn't work. The G flat doesn't work. Let me go to F because I know that works. So F, I can see the shape, and I take 1, 3, 5, 7, and I just know I can make a minor 7. I can play a 6. I can play a minor 6. I can play a minor 6 with a flat 5, which is called a whole diminished. I can play it with a dominant 7, that's called half diminished. Everything's there. I can play 1, 3 raised to 5 with a dominant 7. Or augmented 7. The augmented is the raised 5th. Everything is based on 1, 3, 5, 7, or with a 6. And when I realized that, I was visualizing these shapes in my mind. Then at the piano, to help myself with, for example, arpeggios, here's a nice topic. I can explain this about the octave jump. Many people have a problem with precision in arpeggios. And let me tell you that if you dissect it one step, let's play F6. The problem is that people will often play the chord like that and then jump all the way to the F. Now, the jump is necessary, but it's nice to just get the thumb. The key of the arpeggio is that movement of the thumb an octave. So it doesn't matter what the chord is on top. Doesn't matter what it is. It won't work if that jump isn't correct. So I recommend getting used to that movement of an octave in all the keys. And why not go around the cycle of fourths? Left hand and right hand. Try it with a metronome or just with your own natural internal metronome. And then jump up a fourth. You want to bury this ability very, very deep inside you. So I was doing this for hours in the practice room at school because I dissected the problem of I can't do arpeggios. I was doing a chord like this, stopping, 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 and that's not, whereas now it's easy because I have that octave in me, ascending and descending, and also when you're playing a chord which is requiring the ring finger rather than the little finger. Of course you can do this with the little finger, but the ring finger especially, if I want to play G major 7 with that F sharp, it's the ring finger which has to be accurate on the way down. So then I realized that this note. Then I noticed that I should have the ability to play octave jumps with every finger. Why not? So I did. I focused on the thumb, ascending, doesn't matter where it is, any note, A flat. So I you know, honestly, I spent hours doing this, but very quickly it became natural to me. With the ring finger, it just doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. And then you can really, of course, with the left hand, of course, that's how my stride came. When there's a chord, I play black notes with my ring fingers 99% of the time. It's just there. So really try that. So I had dissected it. Then the arpeggio, any chord, coming down, I'm using the D. I'm using my ring finger on the D there. And there's no hesitation anymore because the jump is so confident. There's no hesitation. So a nice way to practice this is to just do the octave jump with one octave without playing the chord the second time. Doesn't matter what the chord is. I'll do a minor major 7. So I played flat 5 there. Augmented. It doesn't matter what the chord is, you see. Minors, what else can I do? I've done them all really, haven't I? Sus is just suspended, 7 sus, 7 sus 4. It doesn't matter, it's that octave jump. So that helped me a lot. So precision and that. Now the fluency aspect was a kind of a mental process whereby I knew where I was going while I was where I was. And I practiced a lot, the 2-5-1 chord progression. It going around the cycle of fourths. I forgot what the fourth of F was suddenly. And I practiced this by mentally saying to myself and seeing where the 2-5-1 was of the fourth ahead of myself. So I know the 2-5-1 of F is GCF, but I was seeing that while I was playing the C1. So I can already see it. Now I already know the B flat one. I can see, because I'm kind of looking ahead. So like at this point here, 2, 5, just before I leave that 5, which is F7, just before I land on the B flat, I'm already seeing in my head, B flat is upper fourth, it's 2-5-1 is F and B flat. So I kind of just say to myself, F, B flat, no, like here. So it can't, and then here, I'm like just here, before that, just from that 5 to the 1, I know A flat's a 4, and then 2-5-1 is B flat, E flat. So I'm just ahead of myself, and that really helped me with fluency. So when I combined precision with fluency, you know, I had quite a good sound. So you want to bring those things together, and precision, fluency, major scale awareness, mastery, knowing the chord types 1, 3, 5, 7, and then adding the other things like duration, touch, dynamics, rhythm, time signature, all these other things. You add them after. So let's just take a nice exercise, for example, is to take one chord type, let's say whole diminished, and I'll play a whole diminished chord type on each of the notes of a major scale. So we'll take major scale of C just to start, and I'm going to play C whole diminished, D whole diminished, E, F, G, A, B whole diminished. But you can play it anywhere. This really opens up your ability at the piano, and you can play it as an arpeggio, you can play it as a block. You're going to get the precision from the octave jumping. If you want to do the arpeggio stuff, you're going to get the precision from the octave jump again. It's all about the octave. So C diminished. Maybe I'll do it like this. So I'm just doing 2 octaves each. I'll do it slowly. It's just a flow. I'm not thinking about my fingering, it's just happening naturally. Now we'll go to D. And if you slow it down, or if I play it more slowly, you'll see that I'm not missing a note because the precision of the octave jump is correct. Now down here, there's a feeling of that octave. You can even try the pedal. Let's do it on E whole diminished with the pedal. It's a nice feeling. Let's try a jump block chord with an F diminished. This is a favourite one. But you have to imagine little young Dan the composer sitting in a practice room at school, having no idea he'd have a nice channel with very supportive subscribers, doing things all that time that I'd be showing people in 20 years. G, A, B is next. I'm thinking ahead. I can see the B before I'm playing it. And back to C. Let's do 3 octaves. That's a really nice thing to do. So I'm playing one chord type over one major scale. Let's just do one more example with a different chord type. Major 7 over the major scale of A flat. So I played the notes of A flat major 7, A flat major, but playing only, I think, it's funny how my brain wanders, playing only major 7 chords. That's what I was trying to do. For some reason my mind just wandered about the next thing I wanted to say. But I just did it then for you. So that's a nice idea. Another one, of course, is to play one chord for a different key. So you're changing it all the time, and that's a nice practice to really. So I might play C, a bit of rhythm, maybe a bit of walking bass, perhaps. This is something I practice because I like it. Just playing the notes of the chord in the left hand. So I might play C. Well, I'm not going to think about it. I might play C7. I played a major 7. I wanted to say that you'll play the notes of the chord and then you'll use chromatic connections, which is why I played a B there, just to fill up the space. So just look at this. Instead of just playing the notes, I'm playing C, E, G, B flat, 1, 3, 5, 7. Instead of just playing the notes of the chord, you can put chromatic connections between them. So so I'm always playing 1, 3, 5, 7, but I'm just putting a little connection chromatically. Because there's musical context, so you know it's on C. But then the next key that you go to, up a fourth, or choose any key, play a different chord type. And try to keep the left hand following that. So, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll go C major, C7. I'll do it a bit more slowly. Let's go to G minor 7. Let's go to B whole diminish. F major 7. B flat minor 7. So they're just random chords, random keys, and a nice little walking bass. It's a nice bit of practice, but a nice bit of finger work in there. Another nice one I did often was to play in 2s and 3s a major scale. So a key of C, demonstration key, in 3s. I did this a lot. Different fingers in the left hand, the middle 3 fingers, for example. One thing I'd like to say is that 90% of my practice was always staccato, which means no pedal and not making it flowy. This is legato. I'm doing it staccato, like the keys are too hot to touch. It helps you with your precision when you play staccato. When you're playing legato, you can be a bit more lazy and a bit less accurate. So staccato. very nice. Let's do it in D flat. I'm not going to play this note because it won't come out, but stuff like that. So that's the scaly stuff, that's chordy stuff, and some octave precision stuff, which applies to your stride. It applies to your right hand chords. Another nice thing, I think did I do it earlier, is to play the octaves like this, ascending or descending. And when I say ascending and descending, I mean playing ascending means the lower hand, the thumb plays first. Descending means the little finger plays first. You can still ascend while descending, and you can descend while ascending. Either way, you have to be able to do that. It's a nice technique. So you've got your finger precision one here, different keys, different combinations, doing chords in thirds, doing them in seconds. What key are in D? It's nice, but with different finger combinations. See, I can do this with. See, I can do it at the same speed, same precision, with different finger combinations. And I thank the List Technical Exercise book for that link below. It's a free PDF online. There's not really too much to say about this, because you'll find that once you've mastered these techniques that I've discussed, because they apply to everybody, it's about precision and fluency, which is about thinking ahead. You'll get to the point where both of your hands' fingers are all the same, or very as close as possible. My weakest finger is my left hand little finger, but at the beginning I said I was going to show you what I did. Well, I just did lots of descending patterns, and I identified that my weakness for my left hand descending was not my thumb, was not my index, was not my middle, it was my ring finger. So what I did, and I'm happy I remembered to say this, is I thought, right, you are going to get some attention, and I'm going to really push you. So alone or with right hand finger combinations, I did 2 or 3 octaves of just this, first of all, because I wanted to strengthen the finger in general. I wanted to enhance physically and mentally the existence of this ring finger on my left hand. So sometimes with a different finger on the right hand, because my right hand fingers are completely fine, I would just go up like this as an endurance exercise to really make my ring finger know that it has to work, because I need it. I need it for different chord types, and I need it for stride. I need it there. I need it for different patterns. Every other finger was maybe 80 plus, 90 plus % free, flexible. This one was like 20%, and now I would say it's about 75. So I used to do this while reading a book or watching a comedy or something. Not necessarily about doing it fast, that's just my natural speed, I suppose, but if I slow it down, it doesn't matter. The point is I made it work. And by work, I don't mean operate, I mean sweat. I had a sweaty ring finger. So that was one thing I did. And then I did descending patterns, which would end on the little finger. So down in 4s. But I'd press it stronger to really wake it up. And you could do the same with descending chords. I would maybe play a triad, simple triad. This is not about speed or showing off or party tricks. It's just, I just did it to really make this finger work. Ring finger, doing the arpeggio itself. Just playing notes of a chord. That kind of thing. So if you have a particular finger weakness, make it work, and give it a nice workout every day, and it will get stronger and stronger, pretty quickly. I think I've said everything I wanted to say. The next video, part 2, is going to be a bit more theoretical, how I visualized things, how I mastered progressions, and how I understood some theory and all that stuff. And then I'll of course demonstrate its use on the piano. But yeah, really, I just wanted you to understand that playing the piano is mainly precision and fluency, which come from independent finger exercises and combinations, left and right hand together, so that they become one. 10 fingers, 10 soldiers, not 5 and 5. And the endurance, the touch, the dynamics, the rhythm, the time signature stuff, all of that comes after. Because if you don't have a good precision, and you are stumbling because of fluency and playing wrong notes because of bad precision, it doesn't matter about the other things. So I think they're the most important things that you should be working on, no matter what your path is. So perhaps in the comments below, you might want to share your favorite technical exercises, because there are so many. There's a whole book of them. There's about 300 pages of technical exercises, 200 pages of technical exercises. So there are many options, and I've done others in other videos, and in my life I probably did other technical exercises I can't remember right now. But I just really wanted to bring home this precision fluency thing, and hopefully to help you on your path. And so in the comments below, it'd be nice to read what you've done, what you do, what your weaknesses are, and how you're trying to fix it through the help of my little videos. So as always, I'd like to comment, subscribe, as always welcome. Have a look at my books, blog, podcast, and Patreon, and I'll see you in the next video, part 2. All the best, and bye for now.